like you worked out today.
I did not work
I
out.
didn't either.
You
I
could
think
tell.
I'm going to go later and do something. So.
I need to. I need to stop, and I need to spend some time like figuring out what my new workout schedule is going to be and how I'm going to do it without Clower. Because if Clower becomes like the reason I stopped working out.
Right. No, you're not going to stop working out.
That's
I'm
a
not
thumbs
going to
down.
let you stop working out. Okay, look at me. Are you ready?
No, I still see color bars.
Speed.
Speed on both?
Speed.
Hi, my name is Mike Chesworth, Mikechesworth.
Tell me what you do.
I am the creative director for Sonora and Visual Media.
Tell me about that.
Basically, my job entails, Neil is really the good one at managing. He is excellent at getting clients, working with clients, budgeting, figuring out what it's going to cost us to do it, and landing these incredible accounts. And then he kind of sometimes will panic, and then he gives it to me, and I just am good, I think, at taking his vision, taking their vision, and making it actually happen.
What are your duties on the job?
My duties are everything from making lunch and taking out the trash to actually shooting and editing a lot of the projects. Oftentimes I'll go on site and I'll actually shoot and interview the people and then take it back to the studio and actually edit it and create kind of a piece. Figure out what the client wants. Sometimes I'll talk to them directly, but a lot of times I let Neil figure that out and then find out how I can make what they have in their head actually become real, because sometimes people kind of imagine these wonderful semi-impossible things, and it's like, how can I actually make that work and make it look the way that they want?
Which client was the most fun to work with so far?
One of my favorites was the Barbie. It would be MB York makeup line. I went to her house, and it was just this gorgeous house in the north Scottsdale, where you actually have to have the guard, and they take down your license plate, and they give you a photocopy, and they highlight the route, which I always just think is really fantastic. So I was excited from that. And it looked like I walked on the set of a real-life Malibu Barbie. I mean, I'm looking around, and everything is pink. This woman walks up, and she has, like, pink furry slippers. And my first reaction was to say, oh my God. And you would laugh, and it would be cheesy if it were anyone else, but she carried it up. It worked. And I was so impressed that Elle Woods from Legally Blonde had grown up, and now she was selling makeup. And it was just a really fun project to be a part of. And she was just really high energy and really positive, and it was interesting to me because I thought, I could see a lot of people saying, oh, look at this is so awful. She's all about makeup. She's all about beauty. She's all about the surface. But she was so charming and so happy and so passionate about making people feel beautiful that I thought, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's really amazing, about making people feel like their very best possible self. And whether that's through makeup, whether that's through a skill, whatever it is, I very much believe in that. And that's one of the things I love about Sonora and Visual Media, is that we take companies and we're like, okay, how can we put your best foot forward? How can we really show other people what it is that you do? And I'm rambling. Go ahead.
You are.
Go ahead.
Can you shorten those down for me? Just
Yeah, sorry.
2 words. Puberty cake.
Puberty Cake. Puberty Cake, I am the official director of Puberty Cake. It actually started with one of the projects. Pretty much every client we have, there's some kind of fun inside joke that comes out of it. And there was this one award that was given to this Indian woman. And she talked real slow and quiet and was talking about how she helped make the puberty cake. And when I heard that, I was like, puberty cake, did I just hear that? And Neil, of course, nothing slides by him. And so we actually Googled it, looked it up, and it's a real thing that is done in the Indian culture. When somebody turns, the age of 14, they actually bake a cupcake in the ground. And so that's become our inside joke, the director of Puberty Cake.
What was the most pressureful moment, and how did you react? And
Pressureful.
Let me finish my.
Okay, go ahead.
I just don't want you to jump on my words. What was the most pressureful moment, and how did you respond?
It was the A&A Awards, and I was actually just trying to print what we had edited out on tape so that we could broadcast it that night, and just everything was shutting down. I mean, the computer was failing, and then the hard drive wasn't working, and then nothing would load, and then the camera wouldn't record. And I have never in my life seen so many things malfunction at the same time that I literally thought, like, am I sending out bad waves? And I actually went into the other room, and I was like, all right, God, help Neil. I'm an asshole, but help him. He really needs this to work. And I went in and it worked. And I was like, thank you very much. But I was really stressed because it literally came down to the wire. And everything I did, instead of printing the whole thing out, I had to go segment by segment by segment and rewind and pause the tape. And it worked. And the one thing is, even though everything was falling apart, I was impressed at my ability to just stay calm and stay on task. And long after the point where I said, if it doesn't happen by this, there's no way it's going to happen, still working on it. And it ended up pulling it off. And I think that comes from my news training, and when things would fall apart every day, but somehow we always made air. And so I think that's the greatest strength. Again, I'm rambling, but I think that's what I bring to Sonoran, is I bring kind of when things are falling apart, a sense of, oh, okay, calm, and we're going to make it happen anyway.
Why was it so important to get that project done to you?
The reason it was so important to me was because it was important to Neil, period. Because he's one that gets upset and he's one that worries, and I'm sensitive to that. And so there's a lot of times where I will rearrange my personal schedule, not go to the gym or come in earlier, do something, just because in my mind I'll think ahead, okay, is he going to be worried about this? Is he going to be stressed about this? Is he going to be upset about this? And so I often try to think of his emotions, and that dictates how I act. And sometimes I feel like I can get away with stuff, and so I am, and I'll push the buttons a little bit. But oftentimes I just try to be sensitive to him and to keep him happy and keep him motivated.
Why does he worry about it? Is worrying a good trait for a company?
It's good for him. It's good for him. I think that there needs to be balance. And that's one of the things I appreciate most about him is he is very dedicated and he is very focused on things. And if he says he's going to do it, he'll do it. Whereas sometimes I kind of let things fall through the crack. But at the same time, you can get so worried about things that you kind of miss out and cause things to fall apart. And I feel like that's what I help do, is to kind of keep that tug of war. Whereas I'm trying to help him relax and be calm and focus on how it could work out, he's kind of motivating me to like, okay, you need to take this serious. You need to actually start doing something. So I think when we actually work together, although there are times where we get kind of upset and bitch at each other, I think every project ends up being better because of it.
Did you see the correlations though with Blue Media? How we have event mode, like our people have an event, and it's like event mode. So what's your event mode? Why is that important for us to be on our game for when their clients have their big game coming up?
It's important for us because when we're at least even putting on the illusion that we're on our game mode and on that, it makes them relax. When you're feeling calm and relaxed, and it makes them worry like, oh, are they going to let this slip through the cracks? And they start panicking and they start micromanaging and they start worrying about possible things that could go wrong in their head. Whereas when you start panicking too, it can kind of make things even worse. There's a balance, and I think the best way is to act aggressive and have that game face on with an air of confidence, like absolutely, we will get that done, we will make it happen. And just no question, to kind of help, oh, okay, you're on it. And that works, but you actually have to follow through with it because you drop the ball one time and that illusion is shattered. So I think that's something that works really well with us because it's almost like a good cop, bad cop scenario when I've dealt with clients, because Neil is just dressed to the T, very professional, this is how we're going to work. And then they come and see me and I'm often in jeans and I'll have some kind of a shaved head or a mohawk, and they'll look at me and be like, you're the creative one, aren't you? Yes, that is what I am. But it creates that illusion of, okay, we're professional, but we're also creative. And it makes them kind of relax and feel like, okay, my project is in good hands.
That's a good one. Do you feel it's a diverse environment? Can you be yourself in this company?
This is definitely the gayest company I have ever worked with. I think we're almost 100%. We have a few straight, friendly employees. Okay, I'm sorry. This is definitely the gayest job, although I'm pretty out. I was closeted when I very first was coming out. I worked for the news, and I was working in Idaho. And I remember there were times where there would be like a gay something that would come across PBS, and it was big news. And I remember hearing the comments in the newsroom and shutting the edit bay door and almost feeling like I wanted to cry because like how much it hurt that all these people like didn't know, and just what a hard, weird, closeted feeling that was. And so when I came out, it was very important for me to just be out. And not be in people's faces about it and say, I'm gay, I'm gay, I'm gay. But if something comes up and be like, ooh, that guy's hot. Would I say that girl is hot? Well, if I would, then I have to say that guy is hot. Or, like, ooh, look at that. And so I pretty much am the same as any straight guy, I think, would be towards a girl. I just do it towards men. But unabashedly, unashamedly, because why do I do that, Sonora? Well, Neil and I are kind of both that way. We both talk about boys a lot. We actually have time that we set apart when we first start the day. We got 10 minutes to talk about boys. Okay, what about this? What about this? Who are you dating? What's going on with this? What about this guy? And then we get back to work. And it actually helps break up the monotony. Sometimes we'll get stressed about a project. We'll get really, really angry. And he'll just put up a picture of a hot guy like on my desk. And we'll have and it just like everything resolves and everything's happy. And we probably couldn't use that. But
Let's just talk about boys. Let's talk about personal time.
Okay, we talk about personal time, but our personal time, 90% revolves around a boy.
Talk about your personal bulletin board. What's going on with your bulletin board?
I've got this bulletin board that he put up by my desk, and at first I thought it was kind of cheesy. I was like, why do I need this? But then I started putting up like positive thoughts and little phrases and things that I wanted, and it actually became like my favorite part of Sonoran. Whenever we have a new client, it's almost a race to see who can come up with the first like inside joke, or who can put a picture of them and make fun of it in some way, and be witty and clever. And it kind of emanates, and that's the epicenter. But then sometimes we'll hide things throughout the house. You know, you'll open a box of cereal and there'll be like a picture of somebody. Oh, good morning, Rita Huber. I don't know.
Can you think of, this will be the last question, and then we should go eat something, but
Okay.
can you think of what's going to be the funny client on this little mix of people so far? Anything funny come to mind? Yeah.
I don't know. I think the washer, maybe because I've been to Garments on the Go, and so I kind of have a full range of them. There's many opportunities to make fun of that client.
That will make the real.
But we always do it in a loving way, and typically the ones we make fun of the most are the ones we love the best. And so it's never malicious, it's never hateful. Although some people, if they didn't know and walked in, might be like, ooh, you know, but it's always because we love them. And the thing is, it makes us love our clients more. And I think that's one thing about Sonoran, and it definitely comes across in our videos, is that as we put these pieces together, we actually fall in love with the individual people. We make up stories about like, oh, what about this and this and this, and we have our favorites, and we root for people, and we get excited. And so it's not just shooting it and slapping it together as much as it's creating a story about these individual people. And part of that involves getting to know them and falling in love as we put the pieces together.
Let's talk about the interview. This will be the last question, I promise. The interview.
Okay.
So when the person comes in, when they're nervous, and how do we sort of try to make that a better experience for them?
Neil's big on making the whole thing an event, making it an experience, and I really think that's excellent. And so he's gotten down to giving out CDs and T-shirts as a little prize for like, you were on it. You know, this is the day you were filmed. And it's important to make people relax because being on camera is nervous. You know, even I've been a photojournalist for 10 years, and even I sometimes will get nervous in front of the camera, believe it or not. But Neil just has this ability to, he doesn't put up a lot, you know, sometimes he'll be fumbling and he's just very honest with his people, and I think they connect to that and they're like, oh, here's a real person, and so they can kind of match him, and he's getting better at mirroring his people. Some people sit up straight and they're very businesslike, and he'll sit up straight, and some people are real giggly and laughy and they'll sit back, and he'll kind of mirror that, and that helps people to relax and feel comfortable, and then they just start speaking. And that's where the best sound bites come from, is when people start rambling and they say too much, and afterwards are like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. But that's always the stuff you want to use.
Cool. Thank you.
I love Sonora.
You know what I was thinking? I was thinking